As zonas de Calangute e Candolim são as mais turísticas de toda a Goa. Há mais lojas, restaurantes, hotéis por metro quadrado do que todo o resto de Goa. É confusão total. Carros, pessoas, motas e vacas. Sim, as vacas têm que estar presentes por todo o lado onde a gente vai. É exatamente no meio desta confusão que vamos encontrar um local com uma serenidade incrível. Goa há algumas centenas de anos atrás. Uma espécie de máquina do tempo. É à porta do Museu Calizz, o Coração, em Konkani, que encontramos um jovem empresário, Manish. É ele que nos vai acompanhar nesta viagem ao passado.
So now I would like to welcome you to a place what we call as Calizz. Now Calizz in the local language means heart. That is Konkani, which is spoken widely over Goa, and we call this place as Heart of Goa. Now this place has been divided into two major eras which Goa has seen, the two different time zones. Now one is the Portuguese era and one is the pre-Portuguese era. So right now we are standing in the Portuguese era, where you can see there's a huge Indo-Portuguese house right behind me, where it's believed there was a lady known as Dona Berta who used to live with her 3 sons and a daughter. Now there's an old Portuguese folk tale which says, like, if you have 3 sons, then you have to do kind of a social work. You have to give one son to the people, one son to the god, and one son to the devil. Now the son which is given to the people becomes a doctor. The son which was given to the god becomes a priest. And the son which was given to the devil becomes a lawyer. So now here you can see like the very different style of architecture, what we call it as the sailor's house. So it's basically a style of Indo-Portuguese house, so that, you know, like it was believed like the sailors could see. Now we are entering into Dona Berta's main dining hall, where you can see a big dining table here, and the most interesting thing here we have is the picture of Dona Berta, the lady of the house, used to live here. Now this was a kind of an assembly hall where at night, like, you know, everybody used to come together and have dinner. So here you can see like we have crockery, cutlery, flatware, different kind of things which were used by those people in those days. And then we have got a collection of crystalware in this cabinet. Here you can see like very interesting wine goblets have been kept here. For example, this one. Now here you can see now these kind of wine goblets were used by wine connoisseurs to taste wine. So here you can see like wine connoisseurs used to select these kind of wine goblets to taste wine. And it's believed like if you taste one of the cheapest wines in the world in a crystal wine goblet, it will really taste good. And you can easily make a fool out of anyone. So right now we are here in one of the salls of the house, like what we call a sal, kind of a ceremonial occasional sitting room. Now here you can see like we have a very lavish furniture which is all upholstered, and we've got some intricate designs on the furniture as well as the walls, and some very interesting coconuts on the middle table, which you can see here. Now these coconuts were brought from Seychelles. Now these were also known as love apples or lucky coconuts, or even beggars bowls, because beggars used to use them to beg. They used to put these kind of hinges and then they used to open it, and then rich people started using them afterwards to give cashew nuts and you know, sweets to the people who used to come and sit here. And this room was open only during special occasions, like suppose if there's a birthday party in the house, or maybe there's a you can say a kind of a ceremony, any kind of ceremony, maybe Christmas party.
Manish, these are still closed, right?
Yeah, these are closed, like there's only a shell inside now.
There's no water?
There's no water. Water has dried up now. So it's like the husk is removed, so now they have been kept as decorative in the house. And now I'll be showing you all more interesting things in the rest of the place, and I'll show you like how the things were there in our normal sitting room, which was used for everyday purpose, and then we will move on to the next section afterwards. So now we are standing here at the entrance of Dona Berta's house, and here first of all I'll show you these very interesting hat molds. Now you must be wondering, what are these hats or molds? Now, what used to happen when people used to come from outside, they used to remove their hats and keep it on the respective molds just to retain the shape of the hat. Now, if you keep it on the stand, what will happen? It will get misshaped. So, just to retain the shape, because in the humidity and lots of moisture is there around, so sometimes the hats they shrink. So, it becomes very difficult to put it on the head. So, just to maintain the shape, they used to put the molds here. So, you can see like different designs, different styles. And then we have very interesting walking sticks in this corner. I would like to show you one of these. Now this is a walking stick with a torch, which you can see like there's a button here, so it's for people, especially for old people who will be walking at night. So they can just switch it on and they can just walk like this. So they don't have to carry a torch with them like alternatively. And then on this corner, I'll show you some more walking sticks in this side. Now here you can see like we have got different styles of walking sticks which shows the influence from the places they have been brought. So here you can see a stick which has come from Macau. So you can see a Chinese dragon here, and this Chinese dragon was known as Loong in Mandarin. Then here I'll show you some other walking sticks. Then we have a walking stick which came from Africa, ebony walking stick. So you can see a face of an African man here. Then we have one of the most interesting walking sticks in this stand is the planter's walking stick. Now it was believed when planters, when they used to go to see their plantations, they never used to have a proper place to sit. So what they used to do, either they had to stand in the hot sun or wait for someone to bring something to sit on. So in the meanwhile, they used to just poke this thing in the ground. You can see there's a tip here, and then they used to open it. And then they used to sit on this. And likewise, here you can see Bohemian influence, then influence. Now this is Bohemian influence, like from the areas of Czech Republic and the surrounding areas. Then we have a Victorian influence, like sticks like these ones, which you can see. This is Victorian influence. This came from British part of India. And so we move on to the next section, and I'll explain you. So now this is a normal sitting room, what we call it as another saal of the house. So the difference between the two saals basically is like here we have common cane furniture, and in that you have noticed that we had all the cushion furniture. So the main difference was like the kind of furniture which is kept in the two sitting rooms. Like here we have like common cane furniture which has got lots of holes in it, which you can see. Now if you sit on this furniture, you'll never sweat. So that's the beauty of it. And the other interesting part about this room is the effect on the walls, which you can see, which is basically a replica of a wallpaper. Now it's a very interesting thing to know that when people travel to Europe, they saw wallpaper, they saw curtains, they saw lots of things. So they wanted to bring those things to Goa, but because of the harsh weather conditions, they were unable to put some of the things. So that's why they replicated the wallpaper, because if they would have put paper, so it would have come down. So how they did it? They basically percolated cow's urine. Now after percolation of cow's urine, we get yellow oxide, and they used to mix that yellow oxide with different vegetable dyes, and then they used to make a kind of a paint mixture, and then they used to put it on the walls by giving a special kind of an effect. And then afterwards they used to give the shining with the help of linseed mixed with the egg white, the white of the egg, and then it used to act as varnish so that it should not come off after some time. So that was what you can see here in this room. So right now we are standing in the inner courtyard of the house, where you can see we have got a collection of pots here, and then we have got a beautiful tree in between the house. Now the inner courtyard concept was very much pre-Portuguese, like mostly Hindu houses used to have an inner courtyard. Now this is a Catholic house, and you can see like again still we have an inner courtyard here because of the architectural influence of the pre-Portuguese era. Now mostly these kind of inner courtyards were very common in Hindu houses. What used to happen, like because of the weather conditions and the culture which was followed in Goa, they used to put a basil plant in between, which was considered very holy. Now as this is a Catholic house, now instead of putting a basil plant, they have just put a tree which is known as bilimbus, which is a very sour kind of fruit which is used in most of the curries in Goa, and even they make pickle out of it. Now coming back to these pots which you see here, now all these pots were imported from Macau, in which sugar from China was imported. And it's a very interesting thing to know, like in India, in the whole of India, people call crystallized sugar as chini because of the reason that it came from China. So likewise, I'll be showing you other interesting things in the rest of the house as we move towards. So now we are here in the priest's bedroom, the son which was given to the god. So this is the third son's bedroom. So you can see we have got a single bed, then we have got beautiful sculptures which are carved on the wall. And it is a very simple room, like you can see there is no plaster on the walls because obviously he was an ascetic. So he believed in simplicity. Now in this corner I'll be showing you like some chalices, then vestments which the priest used to wear, and very interesting and crucifixes and some musical instruments in this whole room. So I'll start from the chalices. So here you can see like we have one very interesting silver spoon. Now in those days what used to happen, when a newly born child was brought to the church, he was gifted a silver spoon by the priest after baptism. And he used to encarve the name of the child, the date of birth and the time of birth. It was a kind of a gift from God which was given by the church so that the child should become rich in future. That's how the quote was framed, like born with a silver spoon in the mouth. So it was actually true. Priests in those days also used to carry a gun with them, especially when they used to hold masses in the secluded parts of Goa. And they were always under a threat of being attacked by wild animals, or maybe any thief would just rob them because they were carrying so expensive vestments as well as processional flags which were having gold and silver threads. So they just used to fire a shot in the air just to scare anything unexpected on their way. And from here I'll be just showing you the processional flag and the other vestments in the other corner, which were made by cloistered nuns. So here we have a processional flag which is more than 350 years old, which was made by cloistered nuns in Goa. And this processional flag is made up of gold, silver, silk and ivory. Here you can see like these ivory small pieces which they have put to make the whole flag. Now they had a very interesting way of giving out all these things to the people who will be like standing outside their room. They used to have a drawer which used to open on both the sides because nobody was allowed to see the cloistered nuns and they were also not allowed to see anyone. So what used to happen, they used to just put all these vestments and processional flags which they used to make in the drawer. The person standing on the other side of the wall used to open the drawer, take the processional flag and he used to keep the offerings in it. So this is how they used to do a kind of a small trading of the things which they used to make. And the most interesting thing about this flag is that it's made on both the sides. So I'll just show you like it is when I do this. So you can see like this. It's a different kind of picture altogether. So in this corner now I'll be showing you a very interesting crucifix which is carved out of a single piece of ivory. And you can see like the arteries and veins and all the bruises on the body of the Jesus Christ has been properly shown. And it's a very interesting thing to know, like today these kind of crucifixes are no longer available and they are very expensive, and in countries like Venezuela people are actually trying to search these kind of things which they cannot get, which we have here. And then at the downside you can see like it again shows Chinese influence from Macau which came. So it's like a mixture of lots of designs which people used to gather and make one thing out of it.
And what is that black ball? It looks like a magical ball.
Yeah, this is actually a planchette ball which was used for exorcism in those days, like because few people believe like evil spirits, they follow them and they have to get rid of them. So they used to come to the priest for that. And so you can see like this is a glass crystal ball which has become black. Now the black color is because it absorbs all the negativity, all the evil spirits from your body. So it's believed like if you touch it with good intentions, then any evil spirit following you will go inside that. And if you do it with the wrong intentions, I don't know what will happen to you. And from here we will be moving on to the next section, the chapel of the house, which has got two openings. One which goes directly into the house and one which is open on the other side. So this was not used frequently, but it was open to the villagers who could come, and suppose if there are special masses they could attend it here. Now the interesting part about this chapel is that we have got a collection of different chairs. Now what used to happen when people used to migrate from Goa, so they used to keep their chairs and altars in the local chapel. So it was a kind of a donation which was given, and the concept was like when you come back, You sit on your own chair to pray. And then you can see we have a collection of different altars, like, and all these altars here, they show the different churches of Goa. Now what used to happen, now the local Goan carpenters, they were not very much skilled to make the typical Portuguese designs. So they just used to sit in front of a church and copy the facade. Now they used to put the facade on the altars, so it was like, you know, keeping an image in the house. So that's why we have these things which basically they show the different churches of Goa. And then you can see we have a high altar and those images on the wall which were always here when we acquired the main house. And we got different paintings of Jesus Christ which shows the side pose of Jesus Christ, which I'll be showing you afterwards. It's like, it's a very interesting picture because normally you never see the side pose of Christ, you always see the front. Now this shows the Mughal influence on Christianity in India. The side pose, long hair, you know, moustache, very pointed kind of moustache, green robe which Jesus Christ is wearing. So these are all symbols which shows the Mughal influence. And now I'll be showing you the different places like Tobacco House and some of the pre-Portuguese section afterwards.
Segundo Maniche, o nosso guia, era aqui que se empacotava e se exportava o tabaco para a Europa. E a família da Dona Berta não se escapa ao processo. Parte da família dedicava-se ao comércio do tabaco. Casa da Tobago. Muito provavelmente porque se diz que o tabaco teve origem nesta ilha, Tobago, na América Central. Mas há também quem diga que o tabaco pode ter tido origem no México, no estado de Tabasco. Não há certezas. A única certeza, sim, é que a história do tabaco tem mais de 6.000 anos e que a Índia é o segundo maior produtor de tabaco no mundo.
So you can see like we have a setup of a kind of a post office also along with it. In Goa there was no centralized post office. So all the letters and parcels which were brought by people, if they wanted to send it to some other part of the world, so they used to come to the trading house to do it. So it was a trader's duty to send it again on the ships and then you know, give the acknowledgement that their parcel has reached. So that is why we have a post box here. So right now we are here in the tobacco house, or you can say the tobacco trading house. Now here we have got a collection of different styles of weighing scales because what used to happen, like there was no definition of, you know, the you can say the standard units which were followed in those days. There was no standardized weighing method. So what used to happen, suppose if a trader has to do trading with any other part of the world, so the trader had to bring the scales from those places. Like for example, like somebody is coming from Spain, so he had to get the scale from Spain. If somebody is coming from any other part of India, then he has to get the scale from those parts. So that's why we've got a collection here of all the different weighing scales and measures which were used for that purpose. And there in that corner we have that stove which was used to basically roast the different varieties of tobacco, as it is always said, like if you roast the tobacco, then always tastes better, which you can use it afterwards. So here we have a collection of few cigarette packets which are there on the table. Which were always kept on display for the other traders to come and see, so they could buy it from here. We have, like, you know, even some small scales in the various cabinets which were used to, you know, like measure the quantity of spices, and even some picks which were used to pick up the diamonds, check the carat of the diamond. And tobacco houses also acted as a kind of a showroom for the new things which were launched in the market. Like suppose if I have a very interesting mariner's compass, which is something new with new technology, so I would just bring it and keep it in the tobacco house, so that suppose if some other trader would come and he says like, okay fine, it's very good, I'll definitely buy it.
Estamos em pleno século XV. Portugal procura o caminho marítimo para o Oriente de forma que pudesse ter um comércio direto com a Índia. Cristóvão Colombo não chega à Índia, mas chega à América, e é a partir de 1492 que começa a história do tabaco na Europa. Jean Nicot, um francês nascido em Nimes, no sul de França, é embaixador em Lisboa entre 1559 e 1561, tem também um papel muito importante na difusão do tabaco na Europa. É ele que, em 1560, leva as sementes desta planta até a França com o intuito de começar uma plantação de tabaco. E também recomenda a Catarina de Médicis o uso desta planta para o seu problema de enxaquecas. A verdade é que mal a rainha francesa começa a inalar estes cheiros da planta do tabaco, as dores de cabeça desaparecem. E a partir daí, o tabaco é remédio santo para todas as doenças. Dores de cabeça, dores de dentes, relaxante muscular, tudo o que possam imaginar. E é graças a Jean Nicot que, a partir do século XIX, a planta do tabaco passa a ser designada de nicotiana e a substância que dela se extrai, nicotina. O início da imprensa periódica em Goa começou a 22 de dezembro de 1821, com a publicação do primeiro jornal oficial, a Gazeta de Goa. Era através desta Gazeta que os goeses punham-se a par do que acontecia na metrópole, ou seja, em Portugal, e no estrangeiro. Mas o primeiro livro foi publicado muito antes, em 1557, a Doutrina Cristã. Temos que lembrar que a imprensa em Goa foi a primeira imprensa em toda a Ásia.
So right now we are here in front of a house, what we call it as the house of Lakshmi Bai, which is the pre-Portuguese section of this place. Now behind me you can see like the house which is completely made up of mud, and the roof which is covered with pottery tiles which were made on calf muscles and thighs. So you can see the shape of different people's thigh and calf muscles on the tiles. So the floor was always made up of cow dung in those days, and it used to cover even the inside as well as the outside. So what used to happen, they used to bring a cow, and it used to move from the inside, because there's an opening, there's a front, and the back door is almost in front of each other. So the cow used to make the dung inside, and then that dung was spread, which was considered very auspicious, because it is believed like goddess Lakshmi, she resides in cow dung, and also it has got some antiseptic properties, like first of all it keeps all the snakes away. There will be no reptiles crawling on the ground, so that because in those days people never used to use any kind of furniture, so they used to do everything on the floor, like starting from eating food, sleeping, whatever you can think of. So that's why they always used the cow dung for that purpose. Now the architectural style which you will be looking at, this formed the basis of the Portuguese architecture which you have already seen before we had entered this house. So you can see like similar kind of designs and styles have been used because of the weather conditions, as I already mentioned. So they had to adopt this house as a kind of a basis. So it was like more of a European painting which was made on a Goan canvas. So this is what I will be showing you inside. So now I'll be showing you the inside of the house, like how the things were in the Brahmin's house. Okay, so now we are here in Lakshmi Bai's house, in one of the first rooms of the house, which is supposed to be the bedroom of a Brahmin. Now they never used to use any furniture, as I've already mentioned earlier, so they used to use floor as their bed, and they used different kind of things. Now here we have one cot which I'll just show you. This shows the Portuguese influence basically on Hinduism. So this is basically from that era when Portuguese became very good friends with the local people, and they had a kind of a merger with them. So, and I'll be explaining you one of the most interesting things which used to happen in the pre-Portuguese era. Now girls used to get married at an early age, at the age of say about 11, 12 or 13. So before sending a young girl to the husband's house, now she was shown lots of things, she was taught lots of things, and she was explained what is going to happen on the very first night, and what the husband is going to do and all, so that the girl should not get scared until she used to attain the age of maturity, like say for example age of 16, she was not sent to the husband's house. So we have certain things which I can show you.
Like this?
Yeah. For example, this. Now this is one of those 6 toys which the lady of the house used to show, like what is the husband is going to do on the very first night and all, so that she should not get scared. So it's like a part of Kama Sutra basically. So this is a very simple toy.
This is only one of the 6.
Yes, one of those 6 toys.
Hoje, Goa é conhecida pelas rave parties, pela música trance, pelas praias. E nós estamos exatamente no centro nevrálgico onde tudo acontece, ou seja, na costa. Mas se formos um pouco mais pelo interior de Goa, podemos descobrir estas pequenas joias que deram o direito a Goa de receber o epíteto de Goa Dourada, ou a joia do Oriente. É a arquitetura, uma mistura entre a arquitetura cristã ocidental e a arte dos artesãos hindus. É um mobiliário, outra vez uma mistura entre o Ocidente e o Oriente. E a comida. Se vierem a Goa, não podem deixar de provar um bom caldinho ou uma feijoada. Eu cá estarei à sua espera. Até daqui a 15 dias.